What's going on, guys? This is Shady of Lightning back with Digimon Adventure Tri Symbiosis episode 19 review. I'm going to be honest, guys, not much happens in this episode and we still didn't get any hints to the O2 Digidestin's whereabouts. But before I get into that, let's start off with what happens in this episode. We start off at the cave with all the Digidestin comforting Meiko, and I mean all of them. I think even the Digimon as well were comforting Meiko. But the bit I liked the most out of this scene was when Sora was telling Meiko not to cut herself off from other people and become lonely, which makes sense for her to say that, as she herself has those issues as well in the first season. It kinda reminds me of this scene in the first season where Sora was in the Cave of Darkness and she was being all depressed, but Matt and Joe were the ones trying to get her out of that depression. But this time, it's Sora and the rest of the Digidestins are the ones in the cave trying to get Meiko out of her depression. The iconic butterfly theme song with slow piano version in the background just made this scene more touching for me. We again continue from the previous episode where Heckman is talking to Nishijima and Meiko's dad. He's explaining to them that Homeostasis wants to kill Meikomon. As it turns out that even the digital reboot couldn't suppress the negative energy within Meiko. He also explains that Meikomon's Digivolution is not an evolution, but a mutation, because apparently evolution cannot cause mass destruction like the way Meikomon destroyed a factory with ease in this episode. Speaking of that, the way Meikomon destroyed the factory reminds me a bit of the fat Majin Buu after he killed Babidi when he was going on a rampage and there was explosions of cities everywhere. Meikomon is doing a similar thing to that. The thing is, Heckman said Meikomon has a mutation, but he didn't mention anything about the infection. So could it be for the infected Digimon, their next evolution for the infected Digimon is for them to go through a mutation? That could be why Meikomon is so insanely strong. Infected Digimon themselves almost double their initial strength, like we saw with Kawagomon, taking on all the partner Digimon in their champion form, when initially he couldn't even beat them at their rookie stage. So a mutated Digimon would be almost instant death. The first half of the episode more or less foreshadowed the Digidestin would be going up against Homeostasis, because all throughout the first half of the episode we see the Digidestin saying how they should save Meikomon, but in contrast we hear Heckman saying how Homeostasis wants Meikomon dead, and of course Heckman is in Homeostasis' side, so he will clash with the Digidestins as well. Is it just me, or is Kari being very depressing in this movie? She is never this depressing. She's Tai's younger sister. She's always positive and gets people going. Hell, if it weren't for her getting Joe out of his depression, then Gomamon wouldn't have digivolved into his megaform. I'm finding this really suspicious. Homeostasis has controlled Kari before, so could it be that Kari is actually being controlled by Homeostasis to then eventually turn against the Digidestin? I'm just theorizing here, guys. Like I said before, I'm reviewing these episodes as I'm going along, so I don't know what happens next in the next episode. So please, no spoilers. But then the Digidestin were transported back to their world. Evil Jenna may have had something to do with that, as we see him wanting the demise of the Digidestin. The Digidestin get chased down by the police and the normal civilians. You know what's ironic? If Jedi back in between season 1 and season 2 didn't delete the history of the Myotisman invasion in the government documents and the video library, then the police would have recognized that Agumon and the rest of the partner Digimon are their saviors, as well as the Digidestin. They wouldn't be the ones going into the police station for questioning. It would have been the police asking them for advice on how to deal with the infected Digimon. But maybe Jedi knew that, and that's why he did it. Maybe he was evil all along. Ooh! The Digimon go back inside Izzy's computer, and Nishijima takes custody of the Digidestin. Now they're all back in Nishijima's school office. In this scene, the Digidestin have completely lost their heads. Meiko is in the same room, sitting right next to all of them, and they're all just shouting out on how much damage Meikomon is doing and how much of a world-ending catastrophe Meikomon has turned out to be. Meiko is already a very fragile girl. Her hearing them shouting out how bad Meikomon is right now is not helping her and gets her feeling even more down. The Digidestin should have actually stopped and think about Meiko, but having said that, I'm getting tired of Meiko. She needs to grow some balls and stop feeling sorry for herself. I can almost see it coming. She being down and miserable throughout the entire film, but right at the end she will rise up and show everyone up. It's becoming very annoying and repetitive, as we have seen this from Meiko from the start of this series, and it's still going on from each and every movie. The episode ends with Izzy saying, "A switch to turn on the Digimon." Overall, this episode had the build up for Homeostasis versus the Digidestin, so that's something, I guess. But what did you guys think of this episode? Did you guys think there was too much screen time for Mako? Did you think Mako was just, it's the same old bullshit again? Let me know in the comments down below and care for nothing.